The Advertiser Index in MagManager allows you to create a single or a double page index directly from your flat plan. The index is fully customisable, so you can change the font, the colour choice, and even use your own master page layout. This means you should be able to replicate your index exactly as you do outside of MagManager. In order for the index to work, all clients should be assigned to a section and or a category, for example, plumber, garden centre, etc. If you don't currently assign your clients to sections, you will need to set that up first. If you need more information on that, please check out the help file on sections and categories and set that up first before proceeding with the index. In this video, we're going to go through the steps to create an advertiser's index in MagManager. The first step is that we're going to set up the template that's going to sit underneath the page. So we click on auto publish options, and then on the second one down, manage layouts and master pages. If you don't have a template made up already, you can download one to the size that you need by selecting the size of your magazine from the drop down box here, so A5, and then you can click on download, and that will download a blank template that you can work from. So I have one set up here. You simply either drag and drop the artwork that you've designed onto the page here, or if you click on it, you can navigate to where the file is stored on your computer, select a file and click open, and that will upload the template to MagManager. Just name the template as you require and then click on save. From here, we're going to hit the back button, and that'll take us back to the flat plan. So the next step is to click on Advertisers Index in the left hand side of the page, and that opens up the settings. The first thing we want to do is to actually allocate the index page. So if we click on the Select Index Page button in the top, and then select the page from the flat plan. So it's going on page 30, and you can see index page created. The next step is to update the settings. Before we get into adjusting the settings, we're going to view the flat plan and make sure that we add the master template to the index. So scroll down until you find the page and click on layout. And then scroll down the layout sections a little bit. Okay, so our index is on the left hand page, so find left master page, and then from the drop down box select the name of the template that you wish to apply to that page, and once that's done, click save. Okay, so from here we're going to click on the back button, and that's going to take us back to the Advertisers Index main settings page. What I recommend you do now is click Generate PDF. That way it's going to give you an idea of how the layout's going to look in relation to the template that you've uploaded. So you can see here I've got gaps in the bottom left and the centre, and it's overrun with text on my phone number section here, so you can see that that isn't quite right, but at least it gives me an idea of where I want to break the headings on so that it fills in the gaps. So looking at this, I'm going to choose garden services to be the top of my second column, and I think tree and hedge surgery will work as the top of the third column. So I'm going to just click back and it'll take me to the settings, and we can get that updated now. So in order to customize the index to your requirements, we start at the general section here, and from here you need to choose use sections, main category, or use all categories. One of these needs to be switched on, and it basically defines how the index is ordered. In this case I'm going to use sections, and I'll have that switched on. The next one is how many columns you want your index to be, and you can choose from 1 to 3. The top margin, again, that will depend on the master template that you're using. For mine to work fine, I have it at 6, but you may need to increase that or decrease that to suit your own requirements. So under headings, this is where you can choose the font family, so you can select from the drop down box the style and the font size. You can increase that up or down. If you wish to include content in your directory listing, you would switch this toggle switch on. I'm not going to do that, so I'll leave that switched off for now. Break on headings. I have this switched on as I want to choose which columns the index breaks on. And because I'm using 3 columns, I need to select 2. Now you may remember earlier I mentioned garden services would be a good option, so I'm going to select garden services for the top of the second column and tree and hedge surgery as the section for the top of the third column. So that's fine, that's those set. Now the next one is the space above headings. All that does, it's just for display purposes. It makes it look a little bit nicer if I have a gap between the top of each heading. And also you can choose space below a heading, so if you wanted to space it out a little bit more and have a space between the heading and the list of clients, you can increase the number up or down here. For colour, you can choose the colour of your heading, and you can select from the drop down box or click on the box to pick a custom colour. The content settings are how the clients actually appear. So again, you can choose the font from the drop down, the style from the drop down, and also the font size. Use dots, that can be switched on or off. I have it switched on as I want it to have a little dot between the end of the client name and the page number. And then you can adjust the height settings if required. And the break on, if you have sections that are quite long, you may want to choose to break it on a client name rather than the actual section or category, and you can click in this box and choose the client name if that's required. So now that the settings are all in place, I can go ahead and click on Generate PDF, and that'll take a few moments, and that'll open up a new window with the PDF. So we can see that looks much better. I now have a complete line in column 1 and 2, and the text doesn't overrun in the third column. And it all fits in perfectly with my template, which had the numbers, the crossword and the banner at the bottom there. So I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to click back onto the settings page and click View Flat Plan. I'm going to scroll down to the index page and hover over the number till it brings up layout, and click on layout. And from here I'm going to click Preview with Trim. So this brings up the page including the trim box, so I can see everything's perfectly fine, and I'm quite happy with that. So I can just click back onto MagManager, and I'm going to select Complete Layout and save. And that's the index created. So having completed the index, you may have checked it over and found that some clients are missing, or that the name needs to be updated. So if you go to the flat plan and just click on the center of the advert to open up the advert details for that client, you can check to make sure that the index toggle switch is green, which indicates that it's switched on. So as long as it's green, they should be appearing in the index. If you need to update the name that appears on the index, you can do that here by changing the text in the company field. So you can just add in or change the text as required and click Save, and that will update it. In this example, we have the column set as 1, and I'm going to generate the PDF. It'll take a moment or two to come up. Once it does, you can see these top 5 clients here are listed without a category or section heading. So what you need to do is you need to open up their client page. So I'm going to go to Boom FM. Open up the client page and click on the Details tab, and then if you come down to the section, you'll see it says please select. You need to add a category or section to that, so select the most appropriate one and click update. And then I'm going to go back to the Advertiser Index settings and click generate PDF a second time. Again, it'll take a second or two to come up, and once it does, you'll see this time that Boom FM are now displayed under the accommodation heading. So what you need to do is you need to go back into the client page for each of these clients that are listed at the top and allocate a section or category to them and update their details page. Once you've done that, you can regenerate the PDF and they will all appear under the appropriate heading. In this example, we're going to look at a smaller magazine whereby the index is only going to take up half a page rather than a full page. So if we go to the Advertiser Index and we're on the settings page, you can see I've adjusted the settings to suit this example, and we'll select the index page. So it's going on page 15, and we can click generate PDF. So it'll take a little second or two for this to come up. But then you can see we've got the headings and the small number of advertisers there, and that takes up about half a page and leaves us with this section in the bottom where we can also add an advert. So I'm going to go back to the view flat plan and scroll down, and what I can do here is I have a half page advert. I can drag them over and onto the advert. Now, because there is only the one advert on here, the alignment is likely to be out. So I'm going to hover over the layout and open up the preview with trim. So you can see here the advert is knocked down off the bottom of the page. Basically, there's no other advert for it to line up against, so we need to make a manual adjustment there. So we're going to go back to the layout screen and click on edit in the top right hand corner, and so from here we can just hover over the advert and just drag it up to a suitable position. So I'm quite happy there, and when I'm done I just click on save, and that will automatically save the advert in that position. So if we go ahead and click on preview with trim again, you can see that it's all in alignment and everything's clear of the trim box around the edge, so I'm quite happy with that. And if I go back, I can then select layout complete and save, and that page is good to go. Something to be aware of if you do add an advert on top of the index page is the page count. You'll see here our autumn leaves, January, February. It's a 16-page magazine, but the adverts and the other content actually add up to 16.5 pages, which is showing the availability is minus half a page. That's because the index actually takes up a full page and we've layered on top the extra half page. So just something to bear in mind. If you do that, your page availability will be out. So in this example, I'm going to create an index over 2 pages rather than one. So just before we get into the settings, I'm going to have a look at the PDF we created earlier, just to give me an idea of where I want to make the section breaks on. Bearing in mind this one is going to be over 4 columns, so the first column will be accommodation, and then we need to select where it's going to break. So I think charities would be a good option for column 2, and then on the first column of the second page we'll go with food and drink, and the final column will go with shopping. So I've just taken a note of that, and we can go back to the main settings page. So we want to add the index to the page in the magazine, so we're going to click on there and select 14. So that's one page created. You can see we have one selected there, and then I'm going to click that again and select page 15, and you'll see now it has 2 selected, so we know we've got two index pages set up. So as I mentioned, we're going with a 2 column, so it'll be 2 columns over 2 pages. And the other things here I'm quite happy to leave as they are. Break on headings is switched on, and then we need to select those section headings. So we're going with charities as the second one, food and drink, and shopping. Okay. And then we can just go ahead and click on Generate PDF. And that'll take a minute or two for that to come up. Here we go. So you can see the first column obviously starts with accommodation, the second one with the charities, and on the second page we've got the food and drink, and the final column shopping. So you can see that the adverts are slightly out again, so we can fix that once we go on to the index, the flat plan again. So we can click on flat plan, hover over the page number and click on layout, and click on edit. You can see the adverts are lying off the page, so if we just drag them up to a suitable place and then release them, same with the second one, if we just bring that up, and we're quite happy with the position in there, and we click on save, and that will update the settings there. So we can go ahead and click preview with trim, and you can see they're in the perfect position there, and everything's clear of the trim box, so we're quite happy with that. Can go back and set the page layout as complete and save. Again, same with the other index page, click preview with trim. We updated this one earlier, so the position is perfectly fine on this one, and we're quite happy with that. So we can go back and click layout complete and save. And that's the index complete over 2 pages.